Hey everybody, welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel if it's not your first time here. I really appreciate you coming back and checking out some more of my content. Hopefully you like what you see here. If you do, consider hitting the like button for this video, but also consider subscribing to the channel. Hey, so in today's video, it's going to be an extensive look at the differences and the commonalities between two different note-taking platforms. That's Boox and Supernote. So these are two of the powerhouses in the industry of e-ink note-taking devices. They both have a lot of great features. A lot of them they share in common, but some of them are exclusive to Boox or exclusive to Supernote. And what I want you to do, here's the approach that I'd like for you to take when you're watching this video today. So this is not a smackdown. This is not we're not going to declare that one platform is better than the other because they're both perfectly capable and very powerful and would suit most users' needs. However, there are some very specific features that these devices have that are unique to them that may or may not make a decision for you as to whether which device is for you. So think about, how do you intend to use the device? Think about, are you going to use it at work, at school, at home? What is going to be your use case? So as you're listening to these features, think about how they match up with your specific use case, and that should help you narrow down which device is for you. So we're going to look at three different things. We're going to look at what do they have in common. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on that particular area. These are things that both devices do. Some, in some ways they do them a little bit differently, but they get to the same result. So we won't spend a whole lot of time on that. I will spend some time on what are the features of each one of the devices that make it unique from the other device. And this may help you in the decision-making process as to which one might be right for you. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the first comparison, and that's what features do they have in common? So here's the list. I'm going to go through this really quickly. So they both have a foldering system where you can nest folders within folders, and I'm not aware of any limitations on either one of these as to how many folders or subfolders you can have. You can view your notes files as thumbnails or list view. I think you have three different ways to view them on each one of the devices. Both of the devices allow you to pin your favorites either to a quick access bar, or you can actually mark it with a star on the Boox platform to mark it as a favorite file. Both of them you can easily go back and look at your recent notes so that you can quickly get access or swap between notes if you need to. Both of them have features to lock a document behind a PIN code so that you can keep it private. Both also offer layer support, although it's limited on the Supernote platform to only notes that are not real-time recognition. So you have to do something other than a real-time recognition note. Both of them allow you to bring in custom page templates, templates that you find, on the internet, or if you've created them yourself. You can bring them in as either a JPEG or a PNG format, or even a PDF format. Both devices are very friendly in allowing you to do both of those things. Both, we're talking about that thumbnail view earlier. Both will allow you to decide what page of a document or a PDF or note that you want to set as your cover page. It's always going to show in that thumbnail view. Both of them allow you to collapse the toolbar. Both allow you to bring in text via a text box, and both allow you to do some text formatting. Although on the Supernote, you get a little bit more flexibility on what that formatting can do. You can also copy and paste text from third-party apps like Kindle. I use a Bible app made by Olive Tree that I can copy and paste text in there. I will say that the Supernote is a little bit easier to manipulate, and it brings it in the width of the page and has some advantages as far as that goes. Both of them allow you to organize pages within your notes and make them part of an outline in the case of Boox, or make them a heading in the case of Supernote. Both allow you to search handwritten notes. You've got the option on the Supernote platform of creating a real-time recognition note that makes that converts in the background. And then on the Boox, you have the ability to turn on recognition in the background that's happening as you're writing or as you're saving your notes. I believe it's after a certain set period of time as you're writing, it begins that recognition. Both, of course, you can convert handwriting to text. You can create hyperlinks to other documents or web pages or pages within documents. They've got a page overview where you can, manage the pages within your documents. You can copy pages, insert blank pages, insert pages from another notebook, insert pages from a PDF. You can export pages individually or all. You can export as a PDF. And you have custom gesture toggles. And there's an advantage on the Boox. And I say it's an advantage. The Boox has a lot of menuing systems on there, and they give the ability to, you can swipe down and get stuff. You can swipe up and get stuff. They allow you to turn on or off all of those gestures. Also on the Supernote, you can customize to a more limited ability to turn on or off gestures if you find that you're inadvertently toggling those when you don't intend to. So those are the features that each one of the devices have in common. I know I went through that pretty quickly, pretty much the same on each one of them. I tried to make some real quick call outs where they were different or where they were implemented differently. If you'd like to see that, I wish, I had the time in the video to be able to do that, but I really wanted to focus the time on what do they not have in common. So I'm going to start off with Boox real quick. So on the Boox platform, these are the list of features that are exclusive to Boox. And hey, I wanted to put a caveat out here on the video. I'm not going to say that I am the end-all be-all expert of either Boox or Supernote, so I fully expect that I may misstate something in this video. And if I do, I encourage you to call that out nicely in the comment section and help viewers to understand where I might be incorrect in the video if I do state something incorrectly or if I've missed a feature that should be included in here. So on the Boox platform, we'll look at a couple of things to do with creating a note. We have the ability to create a quick note and an infinite scroll note, and I'll show you that. So I've got the Boox over here on the right. We're going to go ahead and hit the create button here. As you can see, I've got the option to do quick notes. It just quickly brings you into Note. Normally you have to select your template, you have to select the name of your note, so on and so forth. This just gets you in really quickly to be able to do a note on the fly. Also, when you go to create a note, you've got the option only in the beta for doing infinite notes. And as it says out here to the side, that is a beta feature. But what this allows you to do, and you go in and you select which basic template you want. For example, I'm going to select horizontal line, but then you have to select, do you want small, medium, or big lines? Are they small? Are they medium in width or tall in width? I'm going to go ahead and do medium. I'm just going to leave the note named Infinite 1. I can create it. And basically what this does, it allows you to write on a page. When I get to the bottom, I don't have to swipe to the right and do a different page. I can just scroll up and continue writing. And you can see it gives me a little map of the document and shows you that I'm continuing to make this page longer and longer. But not only can I go vertical, I can also go horizontal. I can go to the right as well. So I can make this document wide. And to the best of my knowledge and limited testing, there's not a limit on how far you can go down or how far you can go right. So that's a really cool feature of the Boox beta. So the next features are toolbar customization and resizable toolbar. So when I'm looking at the toolbar here, I do have options. Let me show you. This is kind of like the main toolbar. When you're working in the Notes app, I like to have the toolbar either on one of the sides or at the top. In the new beta, this icon over here that used to look like I forgot what it looked like, how to describe that. Now it looks like a Pac-Man is what I call it, but what it actually is, it's a circle with a pen tip in it, I think would make sense, but I'll just call it Pac-Man for now. But you can grab that Pac-Man and you can drag this toolbar anywhere you want to drag it. You can put it left, you can put it top. I've got my nav ball in the way. You can put it over on the side. I like to put it on the bottom where it's out of the way. So I can also resize this toolbar by hitting these three dots here, hitting Customize Toolbar. I can come over here and say size. I've got it kind of like a medium size. I typically like mine a little bit smaller, but as you'll see, that shrunk the toolbar when I get out of here. So it makes it a little bit smaller, a little less intrusive. But I can also customize what icons belong on this toolbar or should go on this toolbar. And what I do when I go into this, the top box up here shows me what's already on that toolbar. And then I can just begin clicking on things and adding them to the toolbar. I typically have all of these things on my toolbar. And usually I'm more picky about the order that they're in. You can drag the items and put them in a different order if you wanted to. Like if I wanted Lasso up here, I could put it up there. So really cool that you can customize the size of the toolbar, where it's positioned on the screen, and what is actually on the main toolbar. The next item is multiple pins. So on the Boox platform, you have a greater selection of pins than you do on the Supernote. So as you can see, I've got 5 pins up here at the top, but this first one that looks sort of like a fountain pen has 3 actual pins that are under it. So you would select that, but then you have to choose which one of these that you would want underneath it. They just call this one pin. They call this one calligraphy, and they call this one fountain. And then over here, I've got a brush, I've got a ballpoint, I've got a pencil, and I've got a marker. And on the Supernote, if you're in a note, let me show you what this does over here. For the pens, you've got 3 different pens that you can change thickness on, and you can change 4 shades of black or gray or white. So the next 2 features are Scribble to erase and auto lasso recognition. I'll show you both of those. So on the Boox device, you have to turn on the Scribble to erase. It's under the AI icon there. You got Scribble to erase. You've got to make sure that it's turned on. And then I can come over here and just scribble. And it erases the strokes that are underneath what I'm scribbling. Let's see if that is. And you can see how that works. I've also got Smart Lasso. So if I've got the word, I'm writing right-handed and I'm actually left-handed, so this is not going to look great. But I can have auto lasso recognition turned on as well, and which means I can just circle something. It'll recognize that I tried to lasso that. One of the new features in the Boox Go 10.3 4.1 beta is that when you used to lasso stuff on here, you would get the main menu that takes up 2 sides of the screen that would have all the options that you could do with that highlighted text. Here in the beta, they've moved that to where the menu just pops up right above it, and you can do any number of things with that lassoed handwritten text that you did. And while we're talking about lassos, let me show you that you also have customizable lasso types. So I can have a couple of different lasso types. I can have smart lasso, free lasso, or rectangle lasso. And under the rectangle lasso, it can intersect partially selected, or it can include partially selected. So if you're selecting a line of text and you've got a letter with a tail that goes down below the line, and you partially select that, if you've got include partially selected, it's going to grab that letter as well. So something to know, that if you could either turn it on or turn it off if you're using rectangle lasso. The Boox also has draw and hold shape detection and shape fill. I'll show you that. So on the Boox, I can draw a shape such as a circle and just hold the end of the shape here, and it will make a perfect circle. I can also do like a square or a rectangle, and it's going to make a square or rectangle. Works true with a triangle. Or they also have a bunch of different shapes that you can choose from the menu here. You can do some very complex shapes. For example, let me show you this one. I don't know what it's called, but hey, I can make a kite. We'll just call that kite. Anyway, you can drag the corners, or you can rotate these, turn them in any direction that you wanted to do. Also, if I decided that I wanted that to be filled, I could choose my fill color. Let's just say it's going to be that. There, it's let me fill it. I don't know what the delay was in that. I don't know if this is a beta issue or not, but it's being a little finicky about filling it. Hopefully they get that sorted out once that goes to production. To the best of my knowledge, the only shape that you can do on the Supernote right now is straight lines. And then you can take those straight lines and you can you can hold it, it'll turn into a straight line. Then you can grab the end of it and you can move it around. And I think now you can actually lasso that. And now I can rotate that straight line any way that I want to rotate it. I could have done that when I first created the line if I had not touched anywhere else on the screen, or if I would have held on to the end of that line, I could also move that line around, as you can see there, and let it go in any place. So very basic lines here and very complex shapes and shape fills on the books. So the Boox device also does tags, and I'll show you this. And it's not to say that Supernote doesn't have something similar. They have keywords, and I'll show you that and how it works once I get to the Supernote side. So there is a comparative feature or comparable feature on the Supernote device to tags, but let me show you how they work. So if I've got a piece of text, we'll just say up here where I wrote the word test, I can lasso this using Smart Lasso. That was a Boox exclusive. It went off the top of the screen, so that's probably not going to work. It is a little finicky when you get close to the edge of the screen about lassoing. But I can come up here and you can see the little tag icon. I can name this tag. It'll recognize the text, which is the word test, or I could give it any other tag that I wanted to give it. If I wanted to name it something, if I wanted to just call it David, I could certainly do that. And then that highlights that as a tag. And so if you go back to this note, and just for example, if I'm searching for the tags, let me show you this real quick. I'm trying to operate like I'm using a Supernote here, but if I go and if I search for tags and I search for the word David, searching is sometimes very slow, but there it is. So I can come back to it, and when I get to this page, that tag is highlighted. On the Supernote, we have, as I said, we have what is called keyword. So I'm gonna write the word keyword. And then I'm going to lasso this. I'm going to make it a keyword. It's going to recognize it. We're going to leave it called keyword. We're going to add it. Now, if I am doing a search, and I want to do a search for keywords, I'll just type that keyword in. And the search comes back and says, hey, we found it here. You just have to know that that was your keyword. Supernote doesn't do anything currently to highlight the keyword like Boox does on the tags. So the next feature I was going to talk about is the ability to search handwritten checkboxes within a document, or search handwritten asterisk, which is universal across all notes. But for some reason that's not working for me at the moment. Maybe it's the beta, but I'll show you real quick what it's supposed to do. So on the Boox devices, if you were to draw a square by either, drawing a square and holding it until it creates a perfect square, or creating an asterisk by making an X and then a plus, typically what you could do is you could go into your page overview, hit your search icon up here, and then hit the pen for handwritten. And I could, hit the asterisk. It's showing me no result right now, or I could hit the checkbox and it's showing me no result right now. But typically that does work, and it was working prior to my beta update. So hopefully that's going to be fixed. So the next few features all have to do with inserting elements into your notes, voice recording, images, attachments, timestamps, pages from images. So I'm going to show you that real quick on Boox. So as you're in your note, you've got the insert icon over here. And so I can click on that. It allows me to insert images. I'm not sure if I have any images on this device. I do have some screenshots, it looks like. So I could take this screenshot, click on it, and now I've got this image in my document. I can make it as big or as small as I want it to be. I'm going to put it down here in the corner. I can also insert any kind of attachments of files that I've got on the device. It just puts it as an icon. I can link to other notes. I can link to other files in a hyperlink format. So for example, linking to other notes, I'm going to just choose notebook 1, click OK. I'm going to say give me an icon and a title. And now I've got a hyperlink to that particular notebook on here that I could touch. And it's going to take me directly to that. Boox and Supernote have a built-in system to be able to get you back to where you were. On the Boox device, you'll see that I've got kind of a bigger arrow. It's not the same as my undo and redo. I've got like a back arrow up here. I can click on this and it's going to take me back to the last document page that I was on, which is where I created it. I can also insert links to websites, and I can put timestamps on my page in whatever format that I want to put them on there. I'll just choose that. And there's my timestamp for my page. If you wanted to include that in your notes, that's there as well. So a couple of other features, zoom window, you can pinch to zoom on your notes or your PDFs on the Boox platform. You can also set it to anytime that you close the file, it will automatically export it as a PDF file for safekeeping. You can expand your margins for somewhat of an infinite canvas. It's not actually an infinite canvas. It's really just making your area that you're going to work within bigger. I'll show you that real quick. So I can come over here to the icon that says margins. I can click on that. So I've got all this extra space. That's the size of my page right now. I can expand this thing vertically. I can expand it horizontally in both directions. And now I've got the equivalent of, oh gosh, however many, 8 or 9 times the page space that I had there. I can click OK. And now you can see that my note is just a little bit of a bigger page. I can zoom in on that if I have pinch to zoom enabled. I don't think I do. But typically you can zoom in on that. I'll fix my pinch to zoom later. But that's kind of a neat feature. I don't find any usefulness out of it, but some other folks might. And then the last thing, I guess I should have showed you that, is that you have customizable zoom. So I can come in here and I can say that I want to zoom out. I can zoom in, and it shows you what percent you zoomed in. I can free zoom, which I think maybe, yeah, I can do that. Of course, I'm not on the part of the page where there's any handwriting. I can fit it to screen, which brings me to back to the middle. I can fit the width to the screen, fit the height, or I can fit to the canvas. And as you remember, I expanded the margins on this note. So this actually is fitting the screen. It just doesn't look it. Or then I can just scroll the slider and I can zoom in on the page any way that I want to zoom in on the page. And I would have to be pretty good at zooming to find all my handwritten text, but there it is. So those are all the features that the Boox has that is somewhat exclusive. There were a few things where I told you where Supernote had something similar, or implemented it a different way. Or in the case of the pens, Boox had 8 pens, Supernote had 3. But now let's take a look at the list of items that Supernote has exclusive. You're going to notice that the list is shorter. Once again, I want to make sure that you understand quantity of features does not necessarily mean that it meets your use case better. Look at the specific features that we're going over to see which ones meet your use case the best. All right, so here's the list of Supernote features, and they got some pretty cool ones over here. So I'm going to show you the quick access bar and the last opened note first. So I showed you this earlier. You can swipe down. You've got these capacitive touch bars on the left and right hand side of the screen. Mine are swapped from what they were originally because I'm left-handed, and they make good accommodation for left-handers, as does the Boox. You can change which side of the screen your menu bar is on initially, but as I showed you before, you can drag it around and put it anywhere you want to. So I'm going to swipe down in the quick access bar. And so you have, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've got 8 spots to put your favorite notes or things that you want to access very quickly. So I keep a table of contents for all of my notes that are hyperlinked, that take me to specific notepads for each one of these topics. That's something that I put on my quick access. I've got other things on there. You remember earlier I put that note up here at the top on my quick access. I can easily remove things by holding down on it, breaking the link, and now it's gone. I can reorder these, and it works just really well. So the other thing I was going to show you is last opened document or note. You've got both of those options here right now. Last open note is grayed out. I've been working only in PDFs, but it'll take you to your last open document, which is this. So really cool features there. So two things that are very unique to the Supernote, and a lot of folks find these very powerful, especially if you do all of your organization within the Supernote device. You like to keep it all within one device. They have a built-in to-do list and a built-in calendar that integrates very, very nicely with your notes. And I want to show you that real quick. But if I just wanted to say, cut the grass, trying to be mindful that I'm a left-hander and you can't read what I'm writing. And if I wanted to lasso this, I can do it. And then in my pop-up menus over here on this three ellipsis things here, I can pop it up and I can recognize it as text, recognize it as a digest, which we're not really going to get into a whole lot in this part, or I can make a new calendar event or a new task. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a new task. It's going to recognize the text, and it does a really good job of doing that. Now I can assign this a due date. I can say I need to do this by Sunday the 3rd, click OK, and I can add a task. So now you'll see that it's on my to-do list. It's assigned for tomorrow because that's the way that I had it set up. And I can check that off, or I've got a link back to the note that it was created from. It'll take me right back to this note. So also I could lasso that, and I could make it a calendar event. I can just say new event. It'll recognize the text once again, does a really good job of that. I'm just going to let it go for August 2nd, 12:05 to 1:05 and click OK. And now when I go to the calendar, you'll see that it is on Saturday the 2nd. And now I've got it, cut the grass is also added to my calendar there as well. So those are two very powerful features that are exclusive to the Supernote at this point in time. The other thing has to do with lassoing and erasing via gestures, two-finger gestures. I want to show you that. So we talked about on the Supernote platform that you've got these bars over here on the side, but you've also got, your whole screen real estate here. So I've got mine set up to, if I hold two fingers on the screen and then I circle something, it erases it. It's gone. I'm going to go ahead and bring it back real quick. Once again, two fingers, lasso it is gone. You can also do two fingers over here and lasso something, and it'll bring up the full context menu of what you can do. You can copy it, you can cut it, you can make a header out of it, a keyword, you can do a hyperlink, you can trash it, or you can do all the things that I mentioned earlier on that list of items that, make it an event, a task, or, recognize the text, any of those things. So that's the cool gestures available in the Supernote. You don't have an eraser on the back of the pen, so it's really handy to just be able to do that. And then whatever you're trying to erase is gone. A really cool feature in the Supernote that is similar to what we've talked about on features that are in common, where I talked about you can copy and paste from third-party apps where you're dealing with text. When you're dealing with a PDF, you're not actually dealing with text as much as you are kind of a picture of the text in some cases. But on the Supernote platform, you can actually grab that from a PDF, from an EPUB, whatever format you're doing it, even from one of your notes now, and be able to bring this in from the digest. And I'll show you that real quick. I've got the ESV Study Bible. I can open that up. This is in an EPUB format. I can come in here and say that I can do a gesture on that. A gesture here, it's just a bracket on both ends. Now that gives me a little D showing me that that's part of my digest. I can go look at it in my digest, which is right here. And it's up at the top there. I can assign it to a category, but I'm just going to leave it there. When I go back into my note, I'm going to go back into my recent files, and there's my note. Now I can come in and insert from a digest. And I do that by clicking on the text box, and I've got Insert Digest. And I can choose which one of these I want to do. I'm going to choose that one and choose to insert. And what I said earlier about how Supernote is very intelligent, it knows the width of my page, even with the menu bar it appears. And it doesn't make it wider than the page. When I do insert copied text on the book, sometimes it goes underneath my toolbar or goes off the edge of the screen, and I have to resize this. it's very intelligent on the Supernote to be able to make it the size that I want it to be. So I really appreciate that, and I can just, make that part of my document. A new feature that they just released in the latest beta is that they go ahead and they hyperlink the document that this came from. So not only do I have this in my handwritten note, where I'm writing whatever I'm writing, I can also, if I need to quickly jump back to that document, I can do that, and it takes me back to that document. So very cool. So I mentioned keywords were very similar to the tags on the Boox device, and I showed you keywords earlier. I did mention that on the Boox device, tags is what they call it. Tags are actually highlighted with a different background, and so that when you go back to that, when you search for that tag and you go back to that page that it's on, it's very apparent what your tag was. And I showed you also on the Supernote that right now they don't have functionality to be able to show you what you have flagged as a keyword. It'll just take you back to that page, and hopefully you can figure out which one your keyword is. But they have a feature similar to what I was trying to show you on the Boox as well, where you could search with the checkbox or the asterisk. I think that they have, emulated something that Supernote does really well, and that's searching with the stars. And I want to show you that real quick. So if I have a note here and just say that this was handwritten text and I wanted to flag that just, to remember it or to go back to it quickly, I can draw a star, hold it at the end, and it will, if it's successful, it turns into a star that you see there. It's not my handwriting anymore, it's an official star. That kind of puts a bookmark or a placeholder right there on that particular screen. If I have some stuff on a second screen, I can get out of this document. Let's go back to my files, and then I can come and I can do a search, and I want to search for stars. And there you can see it came back and it gave me 3 notes that have stars in it. One was the one that I just did here. I can go and click on it, and there's my star. So pretty handy. It's similar to what Boox was trying to do, but right now it's not working in my beta. Then a couple of other things. So on the Boox device, on the Supernote device, you can export your notes as not only as PDFs, but also as a Word doc, which can help you, especially if you've converted to text, to be able to go and edit those in Word. In the Word native format. But the last thing that I wanted to call out on Supernote is their stickers, because this is really cool. So it kind of gives you some visual flair to your notes, and you'll see the little icon up here. It looks like a piece of fruit with a bite taken out of it. No, I'm not implying that that's anything to do Apple-like, but I can go to my stickers, and it shows you kind of the recent ones that you've done. These were built in. These are some ones that I tried to make on my own, like something that would grab attention, something that would be called urgent, and I'll just use that. So self-created sticker, I can just click on that and bring it into my note. I can resize it and then put it next to something and say, hey, this is something visually that grabs my attention with that star, and it also says urgent. It's pretty cool. Making stickers is pretty easy. If I just wanted to take the word sticker, or if I was an artist and I wanted to draw something really nice, I could lasso this, and then I could come over here and say, create a new sticker out of this. And I can put it in a collection if I wanted to, or I can just, let's just put it in my circle collection here. And now it's available as one of my stickers. I'll have to find it. It's in my circles. And you'll see I got the word sticker there. Of course, I don't want to keep that. So I'm going to go ahead and delete it. But stickers are really cool. It helps you to visually, make something stand out on a page, sometimes in a fun way, sometimes in a way that really just draws your attention to that part of the page. So that's really the comparison between the two note-taking apps on the devices there. What did you find interesting? Did you learn anything new? Does one of these devices fit your use case better than the other device? Like I said, quantity doesn't equal better fit for what you need it to use the device for. And certainly, I really don't think you could go wrong with getting either one of these devices. I tend to go back and forth between them. I have the Supernote Manta and the Supernote Nomad. I love to use those in tandem, one for travel, one for office work, but I also have multiple Boox devices. I have both color and black and white, and I love to use those as well. So, I find that they have strengths and they have use cases for me on each one of them that I prefer one over the other at certain times, and then other times it may be the other device. So anyway, hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, consider liking the video, consider subscribing to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.